Facebook. Hello, Facebook. Eating a little bit of a Nanaimo bar. At the end of my lunch. And I wanted to chat and say hello. So hello, Facebook. Today's topic is going to be about, hi everyone who's joining. Today's hello replay viewers too. Welcome, welcome. I know it's Saturday and people are out doing the thing, but I also know someone's here to join me. So I'm just gonna chat on this topic and share some love. That's what I really wanna do. Share a whole bunch of love today. Hi, whoever just joined. I'm eating a Nanaimo bar. So yummy. And have you heard that Starbucks in Canada has almond milk now? I'm lactose intolerant and I just don't like eating a lot of dairy. So I was so happy to hear that. Almond milk. So I have an almond milk latte in my purple tumbler cup. And it's so good. So delish. And I have some water in my other mug. Okay. So let's relieve ourselves today of some insecurity and really harsh self-judgment and fear and shame, the stuff that stops us from getting out and sharing our gifts with the world, because that's what having a business is all about. It's sharing your business with the world. That's what it is. That's what we're meant to do when we talk about, you know, really shining our light, which is what I've been saying for years and years and years. And you hear other business ladies saying it too. You know, really shining your light. I'm going to turn this light off, speaking of which, as I sit in my rocker chair. Not off, but just down a bit. It seems so bright. There we go. Hi, whoever just joined. Welcome. Today we are talking about, let's talk about first what shame and insecurity does to us, okay? And I've been there, trust me, and I still am in certain areas of my life, but I'm getting so good at, and this is what I want you to get good at too, is I'm getting so good at just realizing when it's there, acknowledging it and moving through it quickly so that I can, you know, do what I'm meant to do in the world, just as you have something that you're meant to do in the world. And hopefully that is your business right now. Hopefully you've aligned your gifts, your talents, your best qualities, your passions to your business so that you can be doing that on a regular basis. I am blessed enough to be able to do that. And let me tell you, at the beginning of my journey in 2009, when I started my first blog and first started coaching people, it was, there were lots of bouts of insecurity. I'm in my rocking chair, everybody. Welcome, whoever just joined. There were lots of bouts of insecurity, tons. I would feel like, oh my gosh, I can't go today. I can't get on, there was no Facebook Live back then, but I can't, interact with people. I can't do my blog even, which is still my main, I love writing. That's my main way of sharing my gifts and talents with the world. And whether you're on the replay or about to join me now, please do share what you love to do. I love learning and connecting with all of you. So regardless of what it is, sometimes we just feel like I was feeling like, oh, I can't do that today. I'm not feeling good enough. Or most of the time what happens is insecurity and self-judgment and that ugly energy that we sometimes carry inside, the shame, which is, by the way, of course, all of these are normal human reactions. I'm talking about when it gets chronic though, and shame serves a purpose. That's what I was going to say. It does have a purpose, but I'm talking about when it gets chronic. This is when it really anchors into your being, into your energy, and it really can destroy not only your life, but your business. And when it gets into your business, it also destroys your money-making potential. And when your money-making potential, your business is your soul work, it can crush you completely, right? It can totally take you down and crush you completely when it comes to feeling joyful, feeling energetic, feeling motivated, feeling able to get up and, and expand your business and show up to do the things, not only to serve your clients and serve your people that you're meant to serve, but also to expand your business, to share about your business with new people, to showcase. I love doing this. I love explaining it this way to my clients and my tribe and women in my Get Wealthy Woman group and people on my mailing list, is to showcase your talents on a regular basis. This is what social media is for, if you ask me. You showcase your talents, and you also at the same time serve people while you're doing that, right? So you show up with value, you show up with what you're good at, you show up in the format that you're good at, and you share from your heart, from your radiance, from your center, your message and what your talent is. And I don't mean like this isn't like a talent show where you say, my talent is. You do it naturally, right? You show up and you share, let's say you're a speaker, you show up and you share your gift regardless of what you're talking about. What else? Let's say you love a product that you're selling. Maybe you're in an MLM. Well, you show up and you share about the product with passion. You share why you love it. And you share at the soul level, that sweet spot. You've got to share from that radiant soul space inside of you why you're doing what you're doing, right? So it may be a certain MLM product, but why is it important to you? Why is it changing lives? Why is it, at that level making a difference to you, to your family, to people in your community, to people in the world? We want to get into that sweet spot too, right? Okay, so insecurity can really, I was just feeling this as I was eating my lunch, how there's so many women who are so gifted and not sharing. They're going through another day. I've got a Band-Aid on my finger. They're going through yet another day without sharing their gifts, yet another day without bringing in the wealth that that they're totally capable of bringing in, and that would uplift their whole entire lives, like I was just sharing, right? It affects, this kind of energy affects every single area of your life, including your relationships, including your money, including your happiness, your health, feeling joy. I prefer to use the word joy over happiness. But you get the drift. It affects every single area. So there's nothing more important than what I was saying at the beginning, than recognizing when you're in that space and shifting it quickly, learning the skills, mastering your ability, your innate ability, and also a lot of it is learned as well. But that's why I said mastering, because you're mastering your ability to recognize it and also to shift the energy so that you can show up consistently in your business, right? And keep nourishing not just your people, not just the business, but also you and your whole entire life. Because the businesswomen that I work with, we are highly sensitive women who create our businesses to be this gorgeous reflection of our soul. So it's not just, I remember when I first met my partner, I would explain that to him a lot because he'd be like, oh, it's your work. He got it on some level, but a few times I remember he mentioned this. And I'd be like, it's not just my work. And as he got to know me, he would just see that and know that. And it was very quick for us where he saw that. But at first, when he was first learning, he was just in the mentality that a lot of people are in. Well, it's just your work. It's what you do, But it's not to me. It's my soul's work. And that's different from just a job or work, right? We're talking about our soul's work. We're talking about our masterpiece, our life's contribution to the world. And that's very different than just having a job. Hello, whoever's just joining. Welcome. There's people flying in and out today because it's Saturday. So when we've got this insecurity anchored in our business and anchored in our lives on a regular basis, it jams us up. It stops us, right? It stops us from experiencing and giving, and in that giving to our business community, our tribe, and in that giving, receiving ourselves, receiving what we get, what we love to experience when we show up in our business. So let's lift some of that, ladies. That was my whole purpose of getting on today. Let's lift it, and I'll give you the one word that lifts it, okay? But first I'm going to tell you, in 2005, I worked on Canada's second largest murder case in my career. This was before I started my business. I have had other businesses. I had one when I was 22, and I was a writer in my early 20s, so I've had different businesses. But this was back in 2005, so over a decade ago now. I was given an extremely stressful case at work, and it was so stressful, and it was a year and a half of like high pressure, high media attention. I put pressure on myself because I was like, I want to do the best job. I was in a perfectionist energy. I was like, I want to do the best job I possibly can here so that I can rise up into the ranks of the government. I was working for the government at the time. And so I can, advance my career, and this is my chance to get into a role in the government where I could be more creative, because I was feeling a bit, not stuck, but it felt mundane. I'd been at it for 18 years in total. So it was feeling pretty mundane. So I was just, craving this movement, this advancement. So I put a lot of pressure on myself too, not to mention, dealing with a murder case is in and of itself extremely stressful. And it was so high profile. So a lot of stress, a lot of taxing, and try as I did, I was doing my best to take care of myself. It was really difficult to do it to the point where, and I was pretty new at working at those kinds of cases, and certainly, there's no way I would have mastered my job. And I don't think anybody, I remember my neighbor, when I say my neighbor, my office neighbor, when I was in the government, I remember she'd been there for 24 years, and she's like, I don't think anybody, even there was one person who had been there longer than her. I don't even think that person, his name was John, would be able to be ready for this case. So that really, it was so unique in general, right? And there wasn't really much preparing, and it was really taxing. I was flown to Ottawa to interview the murderer for 3 days. I interviewed the whole family, and because I'm an empath, I was taking on a lot of the energy, and of course I was a lot younger, and we all have stuff that's unresolved inside of us, and I wasn't really, getting help for that. I wasn't being supported. I was just going to bed at night and showing up at work the next day, giving it my all, coming home and going to bed, and then doing it all over again, even on the weekends, right? And often I would stay in the office till 10 o'clock, and that went on literally for a year and a half. It was really taxing. So as with every situation that is like that, including deaths in our family, and including weddings and, positive things, anything that causes us a lot of stress, when it actually happens and it clicks in, or in my case, when the case ended, all of a sudden, all of the impact of the whole, whatever time and period it was that you knew, like if you lost a loved one, the time leading up to it could have been a couple years that you were preparing yourself. But when it actually happens, or when that point is of it anchoring in, like when I finished my case and it sort of settled in that I was done, my body just felt like, oh, okay, I can relax. And so when that happened for me, I actually, I want to say passed out, but that's not right. But metaphorically, I passed out. Metaphorically, I fell to the ground, and all of my exhaustion was able to settle in. And just, it felt like, okay, my body was saying, okay, you can relax now, you can heal now, you can begin the recovery process. But at that point for me, it was like, I was almost in a coma because there was so much energy built up. And almost like, I guess another analogy is if you go to war, like you're just like clenching your fist, white knuckling it, until it's over, right? And that's what I was doing. And then when it was over, I was just like, ah. And then all the impact, your body relaxes, but all the impact that had been happening for the last year and a half settles in. So all of this to say that at the end of that period, I took some time off work, and I ended up gaining 150 pounds because I was taking medication for post-traumatic stress disorder. And I was in that coma state, literally, and I wasn't eating well because I lived alone, and I was too embarrassed. See, this is where the insecurity comes in. I was too embarrassed and ashamed to ask my friends and family for help. And I remember getting messages, tons of them, like, what are you doing? Where are you? And, and I just never even answered the phone or checked my messages. And so I really isolated myself, which we all tend to do to some degree or another when we are hurting, when we are healing. And so I did that, and that's when I gained 150 pounds. The medication was totally wrong for me. I was like a little guinea pig at the time, so I was being given a bunch of different things to try. This was, again, 10 years ago, so different than now. And, it was horrible. I didn't grow up with a lot of medications. I gain weight really easy when I take anything that affects my hormones, and all synthetic medications do, let's just face it. I do much better on vitamins. You may relate if you're someone who follows me. So here's the thing. In that time, somehow in my subconscious, and also of course the physical weight gain, I'd never been overweight before that ever. So what a difference, right? To go from regular weight, athletic, my whole life, into this experience of living as a 300-pound woman now. That's what I was. And, I had internalized this insecurity because, obviously there's a certain standard in society right now that says it's important to look a certain way, to be attractive. I just realized I have a client call coming up, so I've got to wrap this up soon. I like expanding the story because I'm like a grandmother in the rocking chair for us, sharing from my heart. And I really want to share, and I want you to know that I understand what it's like to go through some really hard times, or to have years and days pass by when you're not in your power and you're not fulfilling your soul's calling and your lifelong dreams. And ladies, if you're in your 40s like me, it's that time where things really shift for us, and we get a wake-up call, and it's like, are we going to do this or not? Like, are we actually going to do this in our life or not, right? So all of that to say, that whole story, I wanted to etch out in detail what actually happened and how I got to that place first. So you can imagine from there all of the insecurity, the self-destructive thoughts that went on, the shame, and I could go on and on. This is my area of expertise. I love talking about this stuff. However, I'm going to get right to the point of what will heal this, because I want to lift this up for us today, okay? Lifting this up means I get teary-eyed at this because it was such a powerful time for me. And it was the epitome of my self-confidence being born. That was a slip. I was self-conscious. But it was the epitome of my true self-confidence being born at the time. So what happened was I was sitting there, and I was very comatose. I was hardly moving. My muscles actually atrophied. I was on so much medication, and because I didn't grow up with it, they gave me heavy doses too. So I wasn't functioning, like I wasn't moving properly. It was a really hard time. And that period went on for about a year, but this intense period went on just at the beginning. And then I finally popped out of it, and just said, hey, to my doctor, let's get me off of these. And I slowly got off, and that's when I got better. And then I lost the weight. So most of it. So I remember when I was in that intense period of comatoseness, I was sitting there, and the sun was shining through the window, and I don't know, I think I was watching TV. That's what I usually did, or just woke up from a nap. And I looked at my arm, and the sun had shone in on my arm. And I just thought for a moment how beautiful my skin was. And remember, I'm in this state of, insecurity and shame. So constantly I had like this, it was like something was beating me down constantly. That's how I felt energetically. And I wasn't fully aware of it at the time, but now I can understand and see it, right? And so I had this constant pressing down and critical voice inside, this energy of insecurity, afraid to leave because I didn't want to get looked at, or in Toronto, I was living in a big city. I didn't want people to make fun of me as they had out the window, or ask me if I'm pregnant. It was horrible for me. And I'm going to admit, I was vain because I was a fashion model before that, and I'd grown up really slim and athletic my whole life, right? So ending up as a 300-pound woman was really shocking. So at the time, it was a process. And like I said, this was the epitome of my self-confidence. This is where it really began to bloom and grow. So at that time, but but what I'm saying is at that time it was still blooming. So I still had a lot of vanity and like, oh, I gotta, I've gotta look great and I'm nothing if I don't look healthy and, and if I don't look slim and I'm so past that. It was like over a decade ago, like I said now. But the beauty was when I looked at my arm and I saw the sunlight and I just thought for a moment, wow, my skin is beautiful. So I was in so much heaviness that one thought was so bright as that sun shining in that day, that it actually woke me up. And here's the word that's going to uplift you and uplift you from the state, regardless of what degree you're feeling it right now, okay? The word is acceptance. It's really accepting where you are and trusting in that acceptance, because this is what true and full and deep acceptance is. Trusting that in that acceptance, you are exactly where you're meant to be. Now, this isn't like a greeting card, trite kind of thing here. You're exactly where you're meant to be. I was, as a 300-pound woman at that time, exactly where I was meant to be. That was the journey that my soul needed to take this body on in order for me to get the wisdom to grow in the way I needed to grow in order to do what I'm doing now, right? Because I was doing something very different before. So these are all bridges. These are all journeys. And when we can really get that deep by looking at ourselves and our journey and what we've done so far, and especially the ugly parts, especially the parts that society rejects, especially the quirks and the things about ourselves that are not quote unquote normal or usual. When we can love those parts, when we can accept and deeply, deeply trust that this is how it's meant to be. And in fact, these are beautiful bridges. I got chills. So they're beautiful bridges into what you're meant to experience. You're stepping more fully in every experience that you have. Even me laying there, 300 pounds and not knowing what the hell just hit me, right? In that whole entire year and a half and that whole experience I had with my work. Even with that, when you can say, I am meant to be here, and I don't even know, like I can analyze it to death right now, but I don't even know, but something about that sunlight hitting my arm and just seeing that I'm beautiful, even at 300 pounds. That's why I started the website 300 Pounds of Beautiful, was because, it was something about that just illuminated my consciousness and allowed me to step fully into that acceptance and that deep, deep trust. And if we can do that, ladies, every day, just a teeny bit, just trade. When I say teeny bit, I mean, like give it a lot, but with just a teeny bit, if that's where you're at, just a teeny bit every single day of practice, of practicing just a teeny bit. Okay, how can I move into that acceptance today? How can I get that sunlight, whatever that is for you? And you are beautiful and you are unique. And excuse me again, I just had lunch. Something's making me burp. But if you're someone who feels rejected, or if you're that hard on yourself, there's probably something really unique and beautiful about yourself that you're resisting. And you're probably resisting it because someone told you, or society told you, or you think society thinks that you're not normal and it's not okay. And that's where the shame comes in, right? And the insecurity. And that's what can keep us down and far from our business and far from creating the wealth that we truly, truly desire. And not just wealth, anybody can make money, but soul-aligned wealth that truly feeds your entire life, not just your bank account, right? And the beautiful thing is once we do that, once we just do every single day a little bit more, tweak it in and keep practicing and keep mastering. Every time we do that, we get closer and closer. And even in the process of doing it, we get closer and closer to stepping in energetically, stepping into the energy of a woman who creates $10,000 a month or more. even though you're not aware of it, doing that work actually starts to move you in that direction. And that's when you'll start to have ideas like, oh, that's, when you're treating yourself that way, you'll start to have ideas like, oh, I could do that for my blog today, or I could just start a blog like Gina did. That's how I started my business in 2009. That's how many of my successful colleagues started businesses. And you can too. And you'll have inspiration for that as you start to move in that energy. And we have so much masculine energy in the world right now that tells us, to go to business school and teaches us stuff that they learn in business school. But this is the stuff that our feminine essence and our feminine soul is starving for right now. So this is why I dedicate my life to teaching it. It transformed my life and it will transform yours. And so when you do that and you start to follow your hunches because you're getting more and more confident and more accepting of yourself, then you start to bring in money. You might get a client from one of your blogs, or that's what happened to me. I didn't even plan it on it. Someone just wrote me for my blog and said, do you do coaching? And I said, maybe I can. And that's how I started for $25 an hour, right? And I slowly built up from there. So like I said, there's real trust under the acceptance. So when you really step into the acceptance, you also step into this trust. So even though you're moving forward in a way that has a lot of unknowns, because you're not sure exactly how you're going to make the money, you just know that you want to, and you know that you want to feel better, you know that you want more money in your bank account, you know that you want better relationships and friendships and connections, and you just want to feel better every single day. This is how you do it. The slow tweaks. Every little tweak, every little refocusing matters and is getting you there. And the trust underneath is synchronicity, the faith in synchronicity, that when you stay on this path, you will actually be led to that exact place. And it may not be exactly what you expected, but you can know that you have a place to focus and you can trust that it is unfolding. And if you're interested in having some support on this journey, I am honored to work with you. I'd love to work with you. You can head over to getwealthywoman.com and you can check out my course offerings. I have everything, like every price point. I have something from $0 all the way to $5,000 if you wanted to do private coaching with me. So, and I have testimonials there. You can click on praise. I have testimonials there. And I'm also offering 90-minute sessions for February. I don't do that usually. Usually they're 3 hours. So the price point is really good to get in there too. So if you're feeling this, if you're feeling called, just leave me a message. You can write it below here. You can send me a private message. And if you just want to talk on Facebook, we can. You can just write messages down here and we can chat. You can leave a comment, whether you're watching me live right now or whether you're joining me on the replay. Okay, ladies, I don't see any comments right now, and I do need to run into my Saturday afternoon coaching calls now. So I just wanted to send you this love and send you this beautiful gem of acceptance. Acceptance is the soul nourishment that we need to slowly chip away at, and it depends, mine was really thick. It depends how thick yours is right now. To slowly chip away at that horrible, self-critical, damaging, smothering, suffocating energy inside of us. And I want you to know that the good news is like it really can be lifted quickly. We've just got to keep focusing back on the acceptance. Find the beauty. I remember my first client, I'll say this really quick before I go. My first client who committed to me for a longer period, she was so down on her body, and I remember feeling like that, so I was able to connect with her and show her how to do it. And I remember just saying to her, you know what, find a scarf that you love. Find a scarf that you love and wear it today. Whether it's summer or winter, find an appropriate scarf, the appropriate fabric, and find one that lights up your eyes, that feels beautiful, and start there. And that's what I mean by just the little tweaking, the little energy every single day. And she started there, and you should see her now. This was back in 2010, I think. You should see her now. She's literally a business rock star. So that I got chills. That's just one story of success. So there's plenty of them. So ladies, if I did it, if she did it, so can you. one step at a time, day by day, and don't kid yourself if you see people online who look like they got famous overnight or they're just smarter than you, because they're not. It's all a journey for all of us, and you are exactly where you need to be. I'm sending all of my love, and I look forward to connecting with you on my next live stream. Bye for now, ladies. Bye.